Welcome to a journey that transcends the boundaries of our physical world. Today, we will delve into the age-old question that has mystified humanity since, well, the beginning. Is there life after death? Imagine for a moment a world beyond our own, a realm where echoes of our existence resonate beyond the veil of mortality. This concept, both fascinating and elusive, has been a source of wonder, debate, and profound inquiry across different cultures and eras. My interest in this profound topic was sparked by a personal experience that left me questioning the very nature of my own existence. A few years ago, I lost someone very dear to me, my mother, and as I grappled with the grief and unanswerable questions, I found myself drawn to stories of the afterlife, near-death experiences, and spiritual encounters. It was a journey that started from a personal loss, but it led to a quest for understanding something much larger than myself. So today, I'm going to explore historical beliefs, scientific investigations, and personal accounts that challenge our understanding of life and death. So whether you're a seeker, a skeptic, or just curious, join me as we explore the enigmatic echoes of life beyond death. Eternal echoes. You might be wondering, what's this all about? Well, think of eternal echoes like whispers from a world beyond ours. It's the idea that our lives, our experiences, maybe even our souls resonate beyond the time we spend on Earth. It's like leaving footprints in the sand, marks that show we were here, and maybe that we continue to exist in some kind of form after our physical bodies are gone. This isn't just about ghost stories or spooky tales. It's about the connections we feel with those that have passed away, the sense that they're not entirely gone. It's in the stories of people who had near-death experiences and swear they've seen something on the other side. So why does this even matter? Why should we care about these echoes? Because they challenge the very way we think about life and death. They make us ask some pretty big questions. Is there more to our existence than we can touch and see? Do we in some way continue on beyond our physical death? And if we do, what does that mean for how we live our lives right now? These questions aren't new. People have been asking them for centuries in every corner of the world. So get ready to think, to wonder, and maybe look at life and death a little different. Let's get started. As we look at ancient perspectives on the afterlife, let's start with the Mesopotamians. These folks are among the earliest urban civilizations in human history, and their views on the afterlife were quite intriguing. The Mesopotamians, including famous groups like the Sumerians and Babylonians, had a rather grim view of what comes after death. They believed in a place called the Netherworld, a dark, dreary version of their own world located deep beneath the Earth's surface. It was a place where all souls went, regardless of their deeds in life, and there were no rewards or punishments, just a shadowy version of existence. A far cry from the sunny fields or glorious paradises imagined by other cultures. This perspective might sound a bit depressing, but it reflects the Mesopotamians' practical and down-to-earth nature. Life was hard in those times, and their afterlife beliefs mirrored that reality. But even here, in this somber vision, we see the universal human desire to understand what happens after our time on Earth ends. The ancient Egyptians, they were really into the afterlife. They believed that life continued after death, like a journey to another world. Remember the pyramids? They weren't just fancy tombs. They were gateways to the afterlife for pharaohs. The Egyptians had this Book of the Dead, a guide to help the deceased navigate the afterworld. Kinda like Beetlejuice. Now the Greeks, they had a different spin. They believed in a place called the underworld, ruled by the god Hades. It was not exclusively a place of punishment. Rather, it was a complex domain with various regions for different souls. In the Greek understanding, the underworld was more of a repository of souls. It was a place where the dead would embark on a new existence, albeit a shadow of their earthly lives. The journey to the underworld began with crossing the river Styx, a boundary between the living and the dead. According to this mythology, the souls of the deceased were ferried across the river by a somber boatman. A coin, typically placed under the tongue of the deceased or over their eyes, served as a fare for this journey. Those who couldn't pay the fare were destined to wander the shores of the Styx for 100 years. Upon crossing the Styx, the souls would encounter the 3 judges of the dead, who would decide their fate based on their deeds in life. This judgment was a crucial aspect of the Greek afterlife, underscoring the idea that one's actions in life had direct consequences after death. For those deemed virtuous or heroic, the Elysian fields waited, often described as a peaceful and pleasant haven, akin to what many cultures would consider heaven. Here, in this blessed realm, the souls of the righteous would enjoy eternal rest and contentment, free from the toils of the world. Conversely, the less fortunate souls, those who were neither notably virtuous nor egregiously wicked, were sent to the meadows, a neutral, somewhat dreary place where they would exist in a state of forgetfulness, far removed from the concerns of the living and the joys of the Elysian fields. For the wicked, the ancient Greeks believed in places of punishment like Tartarus, a deep, gloomy pit in the earth, as ancient and vast as the cosmos, where the wicked suffered eternal torments. This belief underscored the Greek view of divine justice, where evil deeds were met with retribution. Interestingly, the Greek afterlife was not seen as a final destination, but rather as a continuation of existence in a different form. It reflected their beliefs about the soul's immortality and the cyclical nature of life and death. Unlike many modern conceptions of heaven and hell, the Greek afterlife was not always a place of moral recompense, but often a reflection of one's social status, deeds, and the whims of the gods. The Vikings, renowned for their seafaring and warrior cultures, held a nuanced and rich set of beliefs about life and death. In their view, the afterlife was a varied landscape, with different realms for the dead depending on how they lived and died. One of the most famous of these realms was Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain, overseen by Odin, the chief god in Norse mythology. Valhalla was envisioned as a grand hall where warriors who died in battle were taken by the Valkyries. These warriors spent their days in preparation for Ragnarok, the prophesied end of the world. For those who did not die a heroic or notable death, there was Helheim. Unlike the Christian concept of hell, Helheim was not necessarily a place of torment, but a somber, shadowy continuation of existence, devoid of the joy and light of the living world. Viking funeral practices, such as ship burials, reflect their beliefs in the journey to the afterlife. The deceased, particularly those of high status, were laid in boats or ship-shaped burials, accompanied by various goods that they might need in the afterlife. This ritual underscores the importance they placed on the journey after death, and the belief that these ships would help transport their souls to its next destination. So taking a step back, looking at the Egyptians with their fields of reeds, the Greeks with their underworld, the Vikings with Valhalla, and the Mesopotamians with their netherworld, it's clear that across time and space, humans have always been fascinated by the mystery of what comes next. Each of these civilizations, in their own ways, grappled with the same questions that we do today. These ancient beliefs give us a rich tapestry of human thought and imagination about the afterlife. They show us that no matter where or when we're from, we're all trying to make sense of the great unknown that awaits us all. What these stories really tell us is that the journey to understand life after death is a journey as old as humanity itself. As we turn our attention to the intersection of science and the afterlife, let's explore the enigmatic world of near-death experiences, or NDEs. These are reported by individuals who have come remarkably close to death, or have even been in a state of clinical death before being resuscitated. Their stories and the scientific quest to understand them offer a unique window into this profound mystery. One of the most notable cases is that of Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon who experienced a profound NDE during a life-threatening case of meningitis. He described a journey into a vivid, otherworldly realm, a narrative that became widely known through his book, Proof of Heaven. This case is particularly intriguing because of Dr. Alexander's scientific background, which initially made him a skeptic of such experiences. Another example is Pam Reynolds, who underwent a rare surgical procedure for a brain aneurysm. During this procedure, her body temperature lowered, heart stopped, and blood drained from her brain. Reynolds reported an out-of-body experience, accurately describing the surgical instruments and conversations that occurred while she was clinically dead. Research into NDEs spans multiple disciplines, including neurology and psychology. One theory suggests that as the brain shuts down during a near-death scenario, it may produce hallucinations. This could potentially explain the common elements of NDEs, like the sensation of moving through a tunnel or encountering bright lights. Another perspective comes from the work of researchers like Dr. Prem van Lommel, who conducted a longitudinal study on cardiac arrest survivors. His findings, which documented verifiable out-of-body experiences and accurate recall of events during cardiac arrest, suggest that consciousness might not be fully explainable by our current understanding of brain function. Despite numerous studies, NDEs remain a complex and partly unexplained phenomenon. They continue to challenge our understanding of consciousness and raise questions about what occurs at the edge of life and death. As we delve deeper into this mystery, we'll find that the answers might be as elusive as they are fascinating. In the intriguing field of paranormal research, several notable figures and experiments stand out. These real-life examples highlight the ongoing quest to scientifically explore the possibility of an afterlife. First, let's look at Dr. J.B. Rhine, often considered the father of modern parapsychology. At Duke University in the early 20th century, Dr. Rhine conducted groundbreaking experiments in extrasensory perception, ESP, and psychokinesis, kind of like Ghostbusters, setting the stage for future research into paranormal phenomena. His work, especially with Zener cards, a method to test psychic abilities, sparked both interest and controversy in the scientific community. Then, there was the famous case of the skull experiment, conducted in the 1990s in Norfolk, England. A group of researchers and mediums held seances over several years, claiming remarkable results such as the materialization of objects and direct communication with spirits. Though the experiment was met with a lot of skepticism, it produced some of the most compelling physical evidence in the study of the afterlife, documented in detailed reports and scrutinized by both believers and skeptics alike. We also can't overlook the contributions of Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist known for his extensive research into reincarnation. Over several decades, Stevenson meticulously documented cases of children who claimed to remember past lives, often providing detailed and verifiable information about deceased individuals whom they had no apparent way of knowing. His work, while controversial, offers a unique perspective on the continuity of consciousness after death. In more recent times, Dr. Julie Bashel has become a prominent figure in the study of mediumship. As a co-founder of the Windbridge Research Center, Dr. Bashel employs rigorous scientific methods to test the abilities of mediums, focusing on eliminating fraud and bias. Her research aims to investigate whether mediums can provide accurate and scientific information about the deceased under controlled conditions, thus contributing to the scientific dialogue on afterlife communications. Despite these efforts, the scientific community remains largely skeptical. Critics point out methodological flaws, the need for more rigorous controls, and the possibility of alternative explanations like psychological influences or mere coincidences. The complex and often subjective nature of paranormal experiences make them difficult to study with the objectivity and repeatability required by science. The intersection of belief, skepticism, and thirst for understanding the unknown keeps parapsychology a fascinating, albeit controversial field. Whether providing comfort, sparking curiosity, or raising more questions, the study of paranormal phenomena continues to captivate and challenge our understanding of life, death, and what might lie beyond. Another method for exploring life after death is EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. These are sounds found on electronic recordings that are interpreted as spirit voices or supernatural communications. These recordings, often resembling speech, are in some cases not even heard by the human ear at the time of recording and are only detected upon playback. Interest in EVPs began to rise significantly in the 20th century, with pioneers like Frederick Jurgensen, who dedicated significant portions of their lives to capturing and analyzing these mysterious voices. Techniques for recording EVPs vary, from using simple tape recorders to sophisticated digital recording equipment. Enthusiasts often record in places reputed to be haunted or at locations associated with tragic events, although EVPs have been captured in ordinary settings as well. Analyzing EVPs involves careful listening, often with the aid of audio software. Enthusiasts categorize EVPs by clarity, with Class A being the clearest and easiest to understand, Class B requiring some audio enhancement, and Class C being the most difficult to interpret. Proponents of EVPs suggest these voices belong to spirits or entities from another realm, providing a form of after-death communication. Some believe that these entities can manipulate electronic devices to convey messages. Skeptical explanations for EVPs include psychological phenomena such as pareidolia, interpreting vague stimuli as something familiar like hearing voices and random sounds, or apophenia, perceiving patterns or connections in random or meaningless data. Technical explanations point to radio interference, cross-modulation, or flaws in recording equipment. The American Association of Electronic Voice Phenomena, AAEVP, and other similar organizations have conducted experiments and conferences to share findings and techniques. Controlled experiments have been set up by skeptics and scientists to test the validity of EVPs. These studies often involve creating environments shielded from radio and sound waves to rule out external interference. EVPs have influenced popular culture, featuring in movies, television shows, and documentaries, often portraying them as definitive proof of the paranormal, like the movie White Noise with Michael Keaton. It was alright. The fascination with EVPs ties into the broader human curiosity about the afterlife and the possibility of communication beyond death. The main criticism of EVP research is the lack of replicable, controlled experiments that conclusively demonstrate the paranormal origin of these voices. Critics argue that many recordings can be explained by natural phenomena or are the result of intentional or unintentional manipulation. EVPs remain a controversial and intriguing subject within both paranormal research and broader discussions about the afterlife. For believers, they offer tantalizing evidence of another realm of existence. For skeptics, they are phenomena that can be explained through more mundane means. But the debate over EVPs underscores the enduring human desire to understand the unknown and the longing for connection with something beyond the tangible world. And this brings us to the philosophical and ethical implications of life after death. Throughout history, philosophers have pondered the existence of an afterlife and its implications for living a meaningful life. Ancient Greek philosophers like Socrates and Plato discussed immortality of the soul and its journey after death, suggesting a realm of higher forms or ideals where the soul could reach its true potential. This view placed significant emphasis on the moral life as a preparation for what comes after. In contrast, many modern existential philosophers such as Jean-Paul Sartre or Friedrich Nietzsche rejected the notion of an inherent afterlife, emphasizing instead the importance of creating meaning within the confines of our mortal existence. For them, the acceptance of death's finality was crucial in appreciating the value of life and the choices we make. In many religions and philosophical systems, the concept of an afterlife serves as a critical motivator for ethical behavior. This is evident in doctrines like karma in Hinduism and Buddhism, heaven and hell in Christianity and Islam, and the conception of reincarnation in various Eastern religions. The promise of reward or punishment in the afterlife acts as a deterrent against immoral actions and an incentive for virtuous living. Today, ethicists and philosophers debate whether belief in an afterlife is necessary for moral behavior. While some argue that morality is inherently linked to religious beliefs, including those about the afterlife, others contend that ethical conduct can be maintained through secular humanism and rational, empathetic understanding of our collective human experience. The existence or non-existence of an afterlife bears significantly on existential questions about life's meaning. If life continues in some form after death, does that diminish the importance of our current experiences? Or does it add a layer of significance to our actions and relationships? Philosophers like Albert Camus and Martin Heidegger have explored the concept of death as a defining element of human existence. Their work suggests that confronting and accepting the inevitability of death can lead to a more authentic and meaningful life. Beliefs about the afterlife not only shape individual behavior, but also influence societal norms, laws, and customs. They can be a source of comfort and moral guidance, but can also lead to conflict and division when differing beliefs clash. In the modern age, as science continues to push the boundaries of life extension, ethical questions arise about the implications of potentially expanding life indefinitely. This brings into focus the naturalness of death and whether an eternal life would actually be meaningful. Ultimately, how we view the afterlife reflects our deepest values and fears. Whether we see death as an end, a transformation, or a passage to another existence, these beliefs profoundly shape how we live our lives and interact with others. The question of what, if anything, lies beyond death is one that transcends cultures and eras. It remains one of the most enduring and unanswerable questions, continuing to inspire philosophical debate, ethical considerations, and personal reflection. As we near the end of this journey, exploring the enigmatic concept of life after death, I think it's important to pause and reflect on the questions and insights that have arisen from our exploration. We've traversed through history, philosophy, science, and personal experiences, each offering a unique perspective on this timeless question that has captivated human thought through millennia. But what have we really learned today about life after death? Honestly, maybe nothing. The truth is, this question remains one of the great mysteries of human experience. For some, the belief in an afterlife provides comfort, a sense of justice, or a framework for understanding the trials and tribulations of life. For others, the finality of death underscores the importance of the here and now, emphasizing the value of every moment of our earthly existence. As we ponder these perspectives, we find ourselves confronting the very core of what it means to be human. Our awareness of mortality, our quest for meaning, our fear of the unknown, and our deep-seated desire for continuity all converge in our contemplations of life after death. It's a topic that not only challenges our intellect, but also touches our heart and souls. Maybe there are no definitive answers, and perhaps that's the point. The mystery of life and death invites us to question, to wonder, and to explore. It encourages us to reflect on the nature of existence, the bounds of human connection, and the values and beliefs that guide our lives. As we conclude, I encourage you to continue the exploration in your own life. Reflect on your beliefs, engage in conversations with others, and remain open to the vast possibilities of existence. Whether life after death is a reality or not, the journey of contemplating it enriches our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. And if you found this journey as interesting as I have, please consider sharing this video with friends and family who might be interested in the topic. Engaging others in this conversation can lead to some truly insightful and meaningful conversations. And finally, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'm always exploring intriguing topics and delving into mysteries that captivate the imagination and spirit.